All right then, today for our Everybody Trikes product profile, we're talking about the iTri Euro standard upright trike. So this is the sort of trike that most people think of when they just think about riding a trike. They envisage what we call an upright trike. So that's where the seat is sort of above the pedals and you're sitting pretty much like you would be sitting on a standard two-wheel bike. We call it an upright trike versus our Trident, which is our semi-recumbent trike. And if you have a look at one of our other videos, you'll see the Trident, where it has a seat which is lower down and your feet are more out in front of you. This is the upright trike. It's a fairly sort of standard bike, I guess, for us. We don't really tend to do a lot of modification to this bike. The sorts of things we can change on it, we can change the pedals, different types of strap pedals on it, things like that. We can change the saddle. And we can do the sort of things where if someone's got, one hand is stronger than the other, we can swap around the controls to make it easier for them to ride. But that's really about all we do. So typically the type of rider that we ride in this bike is have pretty good core stability. They've got to be able to sit up on the bike and maintain their posture. And, not someone necessarily who's got a lot of one-sided weakness. One of the really nice features of this bike is that it does have a really low step through. So for people who can't lift their feet very much, it's very easy to get over the bike and onto it. Quite often you'll see people, where the frames are higher, where they really struggle to get their leg up and over the frame. So the nice thing about this bike is it's very easy to get over. Aluminium frame bike, nice solid aluminium welded basket. You can see very solid. And it rolls along very nicely, this bike. You can ride it mechanically very easily as well. This one, of course, like all of our bikes, pretty much has power. So the way that, just showing you there, the way that we tend to suggest to people to get on the bike is you step over, and you put your foot on, if you've got a strong foot, you put your strong foot on the pedal at the bottom, and you lift yourself up onto the saddle. So you can see here, I'm reasonably tall. I'm not that tall a person, I'm about 5'8", but still I'm quite high off the ground when I'm riding. So one of the things about an upright trike is you do need to ride the trike differently to a two-wheel bike. You need to understand that the trike, you don't lean a trike to steer it like you would a two-wheel bike. You have to sit straight on the trike basically, and you have to steer it like a shopping trolley. So to do that when you're riding, you need to make sure that you are not leaning into the curve. So if I'm turning this way, I don't lean into the curve that way. I've got to just sit up straight and turn the bike. And to do that, you've got to make sure that you maintain the weight on the outside so that you can actually steer the bike around the corner. So I'm going to demonstrate this as we're riding. So we do say to people that it does take a while to get used to riding an upright trike. It's not something, especially if you've ridden a two-wheel bike for a long time, you have to unlearn how to ride a two-wheel bike, and you have to learn how to ride a trike, and you have to persevere for a while to get used to it. We do a lot of trials with people, riding trikes like this and riding our Trident, and it becomes obvious pretty quickly that there are some people that just will not be able to get the hang of riding a trike like this, and we then direct them towards the semi-recumbent. So we get started on the trike. I'm going to ride around here, which has got a few bumps and things. Again, we've got the pedal assist where if I push for a little bit, push, now the power's on, just a little bit of power. So I'm going to ride down this slope here. Riding down a slope is fine if you're riding straight down the slope. On a trike, you always want to make sure that the two rear wheels are going down or up the slope together. So if you're going across a driveway or something, up a driveway, make sure that you get both of those wheels going up the driveway together and don't go across the driveway sideways. So now I'm going across the slope here a bit. So again, I want to put my weight on the right-hand side here and steer the bike around as I go up the slope. I'm going to go up this slope here. Again, the same sort of thing. As I turn up the slope, I want to put my weight on this side so that I'm steering the bike around. What people want to do, they tend to want to lean into the slope. So if I try and do that as I turn down here, I'm going to lean into the slope. So I'm leaning in this way, and as I lean in, it's hard for me to actually steer the bike around. Where if I lean out, then I can just steer the bike and bring it around the corner as I need to. So it's sort of in your head, you have to think about leaning out on the outside of the curve as you ride around. You don't necessarily have to lean, but you just have to think about it so that you maintain that weight on the outside of the it feels like you're going to flip and you think, oh geez, am I going to go over? But obviously if you went too, if you're on too steep a slope, then yes, you would go over. But the idea is just to maintain that sort of straight, as much as possible, sitting up straight on the bike and leaning with on the slope. As the bike leans, you lean with the bike and put that weight out here so that you can steer the bike around. I'll just demonstrate again. I'm going to go here, I'm turning to the right, but I'm putting my weight on the outside here as I turn around. And then the same thing as I go the other way. I'm leaning back out on the right now as I turn left. So I'm hardly, you can see I haven't got any weight on the inside. So that's how we tell people, is just to sort of make sure you're not trying to, people, what they get when they get onto a trike for the first time, they really fight the trike. You can see them really, because their mind and their body is telling them to do one thing, but the trike's doing another thing, and they can't work out why the trike isn't responding the way that they think it should respond. We always say to people in that situation, the first thing you do is just stop. Put your brakes on and stop. Don't just keep fighting and end up, in the bushes. And the other thing is when you're riding a trike is don't take your feet off the pedals. Because if you take your feet off the pedals when you stop, you end up just running them over with on the back wheel. So keep your feet on the pedals. And if you don't know what's going on and the trike's not responding the way that you think it should respond, put the brakes on. And then once you stop, you can work out what you need to do from that point on. All right, so that's this bike comes in two sizes. This is the 24-inch wheel size, which is the bigger one. We also have a smaller one with a 20-inch wheel size. That's good for people probably up to, I don't know, 150, 160 centimeters or something, and children. This one's for adults. One thing you need to be aware of though is the taller you get on a trike, or the taller the person is on a trike, the higher the seat has to go. And because you're going pretty much almost straight up, as you get higher and higher, you do tend to, that center of gravity gets higher, and you do tend to feel like you're tipping more and more. So for really tall people or heavy people, the Trident is a good option because you're still staying low to the ground. But this is a great sort of, I guess, reasonably simple, easy to ride bike for people who are able to master riding an upright trike. Thank you.